Breaking down Monterey sports. This is the Plainsman Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score and the 100.7 The Score mobile app.
Welcome back in. This is the Plainsman Fan Zone, and this is a coach and a team that is still playing. Brian Cronk, you're not retiring anytime soon, are you?
No, sir.
I didn't figure you would. You got daughters at home. I know what that's like. You don't get to retire for a long time.
Well,
I say that. Paul Page is still pretty young, and he just hung up his whistle. So
I don't know. I don't know what I'd do if I retired, so
exactly.
We'll just continue to plug along.
A young lady interviewed me today and said, well, how long do you want to do this? I was like, well, do I have to stop anytime soon?
Yeah.
You don't have to stop right now because your team is in the, what do you call it, the regional semifinal round?
It is the regional semifinals.
It's the third round, this is old hat to Monterey. This is the fifth time in 6 years.
Yes, sir.
To get this far. And I remember 2019 or 20, you guys had never been that far. I remember you telling me that. Yeah, this is.
It was coming out of COVID, so it would have been 21. Won the district championship and then went down to area. Wound up playing, I think it was Jefferson.
Yep.
And, you looked at their record, and they had won a whole lot of games, and it was a big deal. And fortunately, we were on the right side of that deal, and I think we ruled them twice and got the monkey off our back. And we've been very fortunate to have a lot of success in the area around since then.
And that continued this last weekend. Monterey beat El Paso El Dorado 10-1, 11-0. I'm going to assume these two girls had a lot to do. I know this young lady did.
Well, the two of these
introduced them before.
So sitting closest to Randy is Sabrina McBeath. She's a freshman, first baseman, hitting an R4 hole. And this is Ali Vaquera, senior, third baseman, hitting an R6 hole.
And Ali real secretly reach into there and grab that microphone so that I forgot to give you that. When y'all talk, people will be able to hear you.
It's right there. There you are. Okay.
Both of them had big days on Thursday. And I think Sabrina was 4 for 4 with 5 RBIs. I think Ali was 3 for 4, wound up hitting a home run, weak little pop-up to end the day. But and then wound up peppering one on Friday as well. And so she wound up with 4 hits on the weekend. I think both of them were 4 for 6.
And I should say, the first game, you had to grind a little bit. It wasn't 10-1's a little bit. You had to work to get to the finish line.
Probably a little deceptive in what the score was. I don't know. I don't want to take anything away from El Dorado. You never know what you're getting out of El Paso,
right?
And they were definitely one of those.
Yeah.
And they went out there and took pregame, and I don't know. We're very methodical in how we go about our business, and we get to it when we get there. And so we stood around and watched them take pregame. They hooped and hollered, and they looked clean. Looked really good, and all sorts of energy. And we come out. I think Michaela led off with a single, and then Sabrina winds up scoring her. And it was just one of those. Okay, we punched first and great, but then they punched back. But after that punch back, there wasn't. It just didn't seem like anything. The air was out of their sails, and so even with a 2-1 lead and going into the fourth, I guess it was different than what we had felt at pregame. My opinion.
Yeah.
Well, Al, you're one of the grizzled veterans on this team. What did you think about what you guys did, especially coming off the year before where you got bounced in the first round? So it took some younger players getting used to being there in the playoffs. How did you guys take care of business against them?
I think we just stayed relaxed. I mean, it was really hard because we didn't really know much about this team. So we went in there kind of nervous. I was kind of nervous because we didn't know anything about this team. But we stayed relaxed even though they looked very good. But we just came and put it on them. Like
looks good in their uniforms, or I'm just kidding.
They warmed up really, really well. Really well. So
Sabrina, I asked Jade this a few weeks ago before you guys played your first playoff series. You're a freshman.
Yes.
Is this playoff stuff pretty comfortable by now?
I feel like it's very comfortable.
You sure? And you look at your stats, you should certainly look comfortable. How have you gotten so comfortable so quick?
just trust the people I'm playing with. I mean, I've had a connection with some of these girls for a while now, so I just know how things are going to roll out.
The coach said you 4 for 4 and 5 RBIs. I think when I wrote the thing up, I think all 5 came with 2 outs too.
One in the first, one in the third did, and I'd have to look back at it.
I think that's what I looked at, and that's not a freshman thing to do. So we're coming up on a break. We'll be back after this. We'll talk about who the Lady Plainsmen play next and what they need to do when we come back on the High School Fan Zone.
Big things are happening with Romco Equipment. Romco.
Bringing you the latest news from Monterey Athletics. This is the Plainsman Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back in. I'm Randy Rosetta. This is the High School Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score. I'm going to turn my phone ringer off here so we don't have somebody jump in. I've got a high school senior. Sometimes she just likes to call and talk. And you know this. When they want to call and talk, you
just ignore them when you're in the middle of something.
That's hard to do. I'm
We'll call
a
back.
softie. We were talking about Monterey took care of business and is in the regional semifinals for the sixth time in 7 years.
Fifth time in 6 years.
Fifth time in 6 years. And they encounter a familiar team. They take on Aledo for, I think, the third time in the last 5 years, if I counted that right. And this, I was trying to undersell Aledo just a little bit, but Brian Cronk says this is a very similar Aledo team. 26-10. That series will be at the Holiday Athletic Complex in Scenic Holiday, Texas, which if you're not familiar with it, it's one of the towns right before you get to Wichita Falls. 5 p.m. Thursday, 1 p.m. Friday, and then 30 minutes later if necessary. How did you guys wind up?
Well, so let me correct you there. So we've had a time change already.
Okay, there we go.
So Thursday night we'll play at 6:30.
Okay.
And then 1 o'clock on Friday. How did we wind up at Holiday? We were on tap for ACU, but the hotel prices are through the roof, and so financially it's not a good decision there. So we wound up in Holiday, and they have a beautiful facility, and so it'll be an opportunity to get after it, and it doesn't really matter where you end up at the end of the day, but and for what it's worth, being in the regional semis, I think sometimes it's a little bit bigger than a high school facility, but you also take what you get, and I chose times over facility in this situation.
You played in Hermley 1 year.
Did play in Hermley.
Hermley's a little bitty town with a great softball facility, and that's all that matters. So Coach, that's nice of Coach. He didn't make you do like a car wash or go out there and sell the stale chocolate or anything to raise money. Just what Coach said there. Ali, you guys have done this so much. You just get to line up against a great team and play. Does it matter where you're going to play?
It doesn't. It doesn't really matter as long as you go out there and take business, take care of business. Sorry. But no, I don't think it really affects me, or it doesn't really affect the team either.
So we talked a little bit about El Paso, make sure I get it right, El Dorado being pretty juiced to play you guys that first time. You guys were kind of even-keeled. I don't want to say the roles reversed because of what you guys have accomplished, but Aledo's not going to be phased by a whole lot. You've seen them. Have you seen them?
Yes, I have.
You know that they're good. They're just there's cut to the chase. They're good. How do you guys have to approach that as a team that's a blend of older players and freshmen?
I think all of us just really need to go out there with good confidence, honestly. Just go out there and play our game as much as we can. Just trust each other and just play softball.
Sabrina, when you know that Aledo's Aledo, but you guys nobody plays a tougher schedule than you guys before you get into your district. The friendship's right up there in that stratosphere, Lubbock Cooper. But you guys, all those games you played back when it was cold and nasty and you're driving 5 hours, how much does that have you prepared to play Aledo this week?
I mean, it takes a minute to mentally prepare when you play big teams like that. But compared to friendship and things like friendship, you just have to be ready and go.
You've played high-level softball in the summer for a long time. So you're probably going to see some girls,
Yes, sir.
Just in Northwest, you saw the picture that is where now?
Honestly, I don't know.
She was going somewhere.
Yes.
These girls, high school kids, are savvy enough. They know, you got to face this. But your girls have been really good about they're not phased by that. They're just going to go out and play their game. When did you realize that's this DNA of this program?
You know, I guess you'd have to go back to, honestly, it was kind of that COVID year. I think we wound up down at Turf Wars. So when we got into the Turf Wars tournament, which takes place in the Fort Worth area, Aledo was in this year. But you just wound up seeing a bunch of Metro teams. And so we started going to that tournament to see teams to get us prepared. And I think just being exposed to it, we're not as taken back as we could be. And, you know, last year we went down there and struggled. This year we went down there and held our own and had a lot of success. And I think that gave us some confidence. And so when you start looking at it and go, okay, well, this is who you have. Okay, that's what's next on the schedule. And so you show up, you do your work in practice, you do the things you need to do to be better, and you know, we'll make sure that we're as prepared as we can be. And you know, at the end of the day, it's not about reading someone else's jersey. It's about knowing that when you put yours on, that you've earned that opportunity to be there, and when these kids have, and you know, we're very proud of them for that.
Ali, what's one thing you have to do well for 14 or 21 innings or however many it takes? If you do that, and I promise you I'll invite you back next week. May not be you, but Coach can come back.
No pressure.
No, don't mess up, Ali.
You're going to have to answer it too. So that's what I'll let the older girls start. What's one thing you guys have to do well to beat Aledo?
I don't know.
Just
You go first.
Everything?
Okay. Or do you want to go?
Go ahead, pass it on to Sabrina and see what she has.
Okay. I mean, just one thing.
You probably have to do more than one thing.
Well, obviously, like a couple things, but one thing I will throw out there is just, like, this is a mental game. So you're just going to have to mentally prepare and just physically prepare, you know, eat healthy, you know, things like that.
That's better than I do when I'm on the road, so that's a good first step.
Yeah.
So.
Definitely mentally prepare yourself for whatever comes. Just go out there. But there's a lot of things you can do, but trust each other and just mentally prepare yourself, I would say.
What's one thing you think your girls have to be good at? Let's put it that way.
They have to execute. Execution is the key, right?
Yes, sir.
So you take the outs when you get them. You make the plays when you're supposed to. You have quality at bats. You stay in the moment. You know, be mentally prepared and be mentally tough. And they do those things, and they have an opportunity to be successful and be on the right side.
And that's why they're still playing right now. Let me make sure I say it right. 6:30 Thursday, 1 p.m. Friday, 30 minutes later. That's Monterey and Aledo. Best of 3 series and the regional semifinals, Class 5A Division I at the Holiday Athletic Complex. We'll come back after this break in the Panther Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score.